The engines were still rumbling when the bikers rolled into the parking lot of the roadside diner, a scattered pack of leather, steel, and thunder. The sun had just begun to sink behind the ridge, painting the pavement orange, when the smallest, most fragile voice rose from behind a trash bin near the door. "Please, please help me." The bikers froze. Their leader, a tall, broad man with a gray beard braided down his chest and a patch reading Reaper's Brotherhood President, turned first. His name was Hawk, and he had rescued enough wounded animals in his days to recognize fear when it shook. Standing there was a girl, 10, maybe 11, her tiny hands shaking, her eyes red like she had either been crying for hours or hadn't slept in days. Her clothes were worn, one knee ripped through the jeans, her shoes too small, as if her toes ached from being curled inside them. Hawk crouched down slow so he wouldn't scare her. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" The girl swallowed hard. "My stepfather, he wants to take me away. My mom told me to run. She said find someone, anyone, before he, the rest of the sentence collapsed into a sob. Another biker, Blaze, stepped forward, but Hawk shot him a look that said easy. He turned back to the girl. "What's your name?" "Lena," she whispered. "Please, he's coming, he's really close." Behind her words, a truck door slammed in the distance. Lena's head jerked up, terrified. The bikers all turned. A man, mid-30s, thick-armed, with the kind of scowl that came from a lifetime of drinking too much and feeling too little, was storming across the gravel lot. He had a cut lip, like someone had struck him earlier, and his eyes were wild. "Lena," he barked, "get over here." Lena shrank behind Hawk so fast, she nearly tripped on her own feet. Hawk rose to his full height, the leather of his jacket creaking. Blaze and Copper flanked him. Outlaw, a giant of a man who could lift a bike on his own, stepped directly in front of the girl like a sentry. The man slowed down when he saw the patch-covered wall of bikers blocking his path. "That's my kid," he growled. "Hand her over." Hawk crossed his arms. "Funny, she doesn't seem to want to go with you." "She's lying," the man spat. "Her mother is crazy, the whole house is a mess. Give me the girl, she's my responsibility." Lena shook her head violently from behind Outlaw. "No, please don't let him take me. He hurts my mom, he hurts." "Shut your mouth," the man roared, making a move as if to grab her. 5 bikers stepped forward at once. The man's hand hovered midair, suddenly uncertain. Hawk tilted his head. "You want to try that again?" For a moment the man's bravado flickered, but he puffed up again, reaching inside his jacket. The bikers tensed until he pulled out a crumpled piece of paper. "This is custody authorization," he growled. "Signed by her mother. She's mine tonight. We're leaving the state." Lena's voice broke. "He forced her. He made her sign after he hurt her. Please, please don't let him." The man snapped, "Enough." Hawk took the paper, but he didn't even look at it. He handed it back. "This isn't happening," he said calmly. "Not until we talk to your wife, and not until we know this girl is safe." "She is safe with me." Blaze snorted. "She looks real safe." Outlaw spoke in a low rumble. "Kid's shaking like a leaf. You don't take her anywhere." The man's eyes shifted. He realized suddenly that every biker in the lot was now watching him. Every vest, every patch, every pair of boots planted in a wide stance. But he made one last mistake. He reached for Lena again. Copper grabbed his wrist mid-swing, twisted, and pinned him against his own truck before the man understood what happened. "Try touching that girl again," Copper hissed, "and see where that hand ends up." The man screamed threats about the police, about the law, about how he'd have every one of them locked up. But his voice was swallowed under the roar of Hawk's bike as the leader leaned close. "You got 3 choices," Hawk growled. "Back off, talk this out, or we call the sheriff and let him sort your story from hers." The man backed down at last, but only because he saw the truth. He was outnumbered, outmatched, and out of excuses. He jabbed a finger toward Lena. "This isn't over." Then he drove off so fast gravel sprayed behind the tires like shrapnel. Lena collapsed in silent sobs. Hawk knelt again. "You're safe now, you hear me, you're with us." "Where will he go?" she whispered. "We're gonna find out," Hawk said. "But first, we're gonna find your mom." The girl broke into tears again, but this time they weren't the same. They weren't the desperate, hopeless kind. They were the kind that happen when something inside you finally believes it might survive. The bikers circled around her like a human shield, as Hawk made a call to a contact in local law enforcement. None of them realized yet, because night was falling and adrenaline still pumped hot, that the stepfather wasn't driving away. He was circling, waiting, and planning something darker. The Reaper's Brotherhood never traveled quietly, but that night their engines echoed with a different kind of purpose. Hawk moved Lena into Blaze's sidecar, soft jacket tucked around her, and the pack rode like a convoy of steel guardians into the fatting dusk. Lena kept glancing behind them. What if he follows? "He tries anything," Blaze said over the engine noise. "He'll regret it." Hawk's contact, Deputy Reyes, answered after a few rings. "Hawk, been a while." "Need a welfare check and urgent protection for a minor," Hawk said. "Little girl named Lena. Says her stepfather assaulted her mother." Reyes cursed under his breath. "Name." Hawk gave it. A pause. "I've heard the name before," Reyes said darkly. "He's been on our radar, domestic disturbances. Never enough proof for charges. I'm sending a unit to the address now. Bring the girl to my office." But as Hawk ended the call, the hairs on the back of his neck stood. He wasn't sure why. Maybe it was the steady hum of the engines, or the way Lena curled in the sidecar like she expected something bad to jump from the shadows, or the truck they had left behind in the diner lot. Only they hadn't left it behind. Hawk caught sight of headlights in the distance, too familiar, too steady, too precise. The stepfather was tailing them after all. Hawk gave a hand signal. The bikers tightened formation. Blaze leaned closer to the girl. "You're okay, we got you." Lena nodded, wiping her eyes, but her lips trembled. 2 miles from town, the truck lunged forward. He was trying to ram them. Son of a Blaze swerved, shielding the sidecar. The bikers roared, engines igniting like anger made of gasoline. Outlaw and Copper dropped back, forming a barrier between the truck and the rest of the group. The truck swerved left, then right, trying to bypass them. Hawk snarled, "Get the girl out of the line." The pack split. Blaze veered down a smaller road toward town, Hawk sprinting ahead with him. But the truck accelerated, plowing past Outlaw with a screech. Lena screamed. Hawk accelerated until his bike howled. "Blaze, cut through Baker Street, go." Blaze obeyed, skidding into a narrow alley only bikes could fit through. The truck had to slow, scraping against dumpsters and brick walls. Hawk stayed at the rear, ready to intercept if needed. At the end of the alley, Lena pointed. "That's the sheriff's station." They burst out onto the main road, just as the patrol lights of Reyes' cruiser flashed into view. The truck barreled behind them like a beast, but it was too late. Reyes slammed his cruiser sideways, blocking the road, guns drawn. "Hands where I can see them." The stepfather finally hit the brakes, but too late. His truck crashed into the cruiser with a crunch of metal. Reyes dragged him out, cuffing him even as the man screamed lies. "That's my kid. They kidnapped her. I have a paper." Reyes shoved him against the hood. "Shut up. You just rammed a pack of civilians with a minor in tow." Hawk parked next to Blaze. Lena climbed out of the sidecar and ran to Hawk, clutching his jacket like he was a wall she could breathe behind. Reyes knelt to her level. "Lena, can you tell me what happened?" She nodded. "He hurt my mom. She told me to run. She told me to find help. I thought he'd kill her." Reyes stood and radioed the unit at the house. "Status." Static, then. We need EMTs. Woman unconscious, bruising, signs of assault. Reyes closed his eyes for a moment. Copy. He turned. Good job bringing her here, Hawk. Hawk crossed his arms. We're not done. Lena tugged his vest. Can I go see my mom? You will, Reyes said gently. But first we need to get you somewhere safe. Hawk's voice hardened. She stays with us. Reyes frowned. That's not standard protocol. Hawk stepped closer. Her stepfather just tried to kill her. My pack will guard her until the hospital clears her mother. You know us, Reyes. We don't abandon people who run to us for help. Reyes looked at Lena, so small, so scared, and finally nodded. All right, temporary protective custody with the Reapers, but keep her in town. Lena exhaled. For the first time all day, she almost looked calm. But calm didn't last long. Because at the hospital, when Reyes finally called in the situation, new details emerged. Lena's mother had been attacked, yes. Beaten badly. But she had also been searching for something desperately before she lost consciousness. A small metal lockbox she kept hidden. And inside, as they learned later, were documents that proved everything the stepfather had been trying to hide. He wasn't planning to take the girl for custody. He was planning to sell her. And Lena heard it all. Which meant one thing. Someone else, someone dangerous, might already know she was missing. And they might be coming next. Lena stayed with the bikers in their clubhouse guest room, wrapped in blankets too big for her, listening to the rain tapping against the windows. The place smelled like old leather, motor oil, and campfire smoke. Some people might have found it intimidating. She didn't. She felt safer there than anywhere she'd been in months. Hawk sat outside her door like a guard dog the whole night. Blaze brought her warm soup. Outlaw gave her a stuffed bear, awkwardly, like he wasn't sure how to hand something so gentle to something so fragile. By morning, Lena finally spoke without shaking. Thank you for not letting him take me. Hawk nodded once. We take care of those who need us, always. But trouble wasn't done. Reyes called at noon. Hawk, you need to bring Lena to the station. There's a new threat. Hawk's jaw tightened. Explain. Your girl's stepfather, he wasn't working alone. Lena froze, the spoon slipping from her fingers. Reyes continued. He had an arrangement illegal, with a man who's now looking for her. Very dangerous, very well connected. We need to move her. Hawk looked down at Lena. She was staring at the floor, breath shaking again. I'm not going, she whispered. He'll find me. Hawk put a hand on her shoulder. Nobody finding you. Reyes added, Hawk, we need backup, real backup. Whoever this guy is, he's got money and muscle. Hawk didn't hesitate. Then he'll find out what happens when he comes after one of ours. When Hawk gathered the chapter members in the main hall, they knew by his tone this wasn't a small matter. We're protecting a child, he said. We're protecting a mother, and we're protecting the truth about what this bastard planned to do. The room filled with growls of agreement. Outlaw slammed his fist into his palm. Anyone comes near her, they go through us. Copper cracked his knuckles, won't get far. Blaze adjusted his gloves. Road's quiet, we'll see them coming. But the trouble came sooner. And closer. That night, as the sun fell and the club prepared to move Lena and her mother, now conscious and recovering, to a safe house, a black SUV rolled into the lot. No lights. No license plates. 4 men stepped out. Reyes' warning echoed in Hawk's mind. The bikers spread into formation instantly. No fear, no hesitation. The tallest man in the group smiled coldly. We're here for the girl. Hawk stepped forward. You picked the wrong place to make that request. Tusk, the man said, shaking his head. Her stepfather didn't finish his job, so now I'm finishing mine. Lena's blood ran cold behind the doorway. The man snapped his fingers. 2 of his men pulled weapons, but they never got to fire. A dozen engines roared behind the clubhouse, backup reapers from neighboring chapters. They thundered into the yard, headlights blinding the intruders. The men hesitated, but only for a second. Hawk moved like a storm. He disarmed the first attacker before the man knew what hit him. Copper tackled another, wrestling him into the dirt. Blaze kicked a gun away. Outlaw lifted the fourth man and slammed him into the SUV hood. The tall man tried to reach for Lena, but she wasn't alone. She stepped backward right into the arms of her mother, newly released from the hospital and escorted by Ray's himself. The sheriff aimed his pistol. "Drop the weapon." The man froze. The fight ended faster than it began. Rays cuffed all 4 men while the bikers stood guard, their vests gleaming like armor in the moonlight. When it was finally over, Lena turned to Hawk. "You saved my life." "You saved yourself," Hawk said softly. "You ran when it mattered. That took courage." Her mother wiped tears from her face. "I should have protected you sooner, baby. I'm so sorry." Lena hugged her tightly. "We're safe now. They helped us." Rays nodded. "With the evidence in that lockbox and the men we've arrested tonight, your stepfather will be facing a long list of charges. He won't come near you again." Lena looked at the bikers, then at Hawk. "Can we stay here tonight?" Hawk smiled just a little. "As long as you want." And so the clubhouse that once echoed with engines and laughter now held something softer. 2 people rebuilding their lives in a place where no one expected to find peace. The Reaper's Brotherhood remained outside their door for the next few days, taking shifts like an army made of leather and loyalty. Because sometimes heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they wear patches. Sometimes they ride steel. And sometimes, just sometimes, they pull over for a little girl who whispers, "My stepfather wants to take me away." And then they make sure no one ever tries again.